What's going on, guys? Larry here. Hope you all are having a good Monday, beautiful Monday here in the city. Nice and mild temp, not too hot, not too cold, just sitting kind of right. Just got done with work for the day and wanted to talk to you all about training. Something I like to do, something that I've spent a lot of time analyzing, thinking, and talking with other people, mostly more experienced with me about. Today, I want to talk about something that I've always personally had a problem with, and I'm sure if you train solo, you may have had a problem with this as well, and it's training to failure. So I just want to let the record say it is very difficult, very, very difficult, if not borderline impossible, to train to true muscular failure on all movements solo. Okay. Now I know a lot of people are saying, well, Larry, that's bullshit. I train to failure all the time. Okay, that's a cool story. Great. I ain't here to argue with you, bro. But what I'm saying is that for the large majority of solo trainers, we cannot safely, or not, I'm not even going to say safely, we cannot train to muscular failure by ourselves on most movements for big body parts. All right. Don't believe me? Some of the videos that I did today for IG illustrated that. Now, I could have not hit failure for a number of things. Mainly when you don't hit failure is you're holding back, right? For me, in my case, I am deathly afraid of injuring something. I don't want to really get injured training by myself. If I'm training with somebody and it's already a competition because I'm training with somebody and I just push myself to the brink and I happen to get injured, I'm kind of willing to accept that. But training by myself and then getting injured is something that I'm deathly afraid of. So I do my reps. I go to rate of perceived exertion, maybe a 8. If I'm lucky, a 9. And I kind of hit failure. I come very, very close. I come very close in the regard that the last third of the movement or the last fourth of the movement is incredibly difficult for me to finish. So when you're training by yourself and you're wondering, well, how can I, if failure training is being preached in bodybuilding, if this is what elicits hypertrophy, if the last 3 reps are the most important reps of the set, then how do I get those reps? The bottom line is that if you're not training with somebody, you're not, right? So how do we cure this problem? There's a couple of different ways. Some of you all won't agree with these ways, but that's neither here nor there. You can make up for it by doing rest pause sets, which you will come close to hitting failure. But again, you're training by yourself. You'll probably rack the weight early so you don't get pinned under it. Another way is cluster sets. I'm not going to get into cluster sets. I'll put some descriptions down at the bottom of the video so you can research it yourself. And then another way is strictly to keep your training on machines. Now, all of these have their own drawbacks. If you train on machines, you won't get that thickness and density that you get from training with free weights. If you do cluster sets and rest pause sets all of the time for every movement, going overboard like most bodybuilders do, excuse me, I just got off work, you're going to run into the overtraining. You're going to run into the overtraining train. Remember, like I said in the last video I did, overtraining is cumulative. It's not acute. So it takes place over time. So one way to make up for lack of going to failure is obviously through volume. That's something that I like to do. If I can't hit failure on all of my sets, then I have no problem going for 4 sets at 80% rather than 2 sets at 100 and risk blowing my knee out or blowing my back out. Again, that kind of changes if I'm training with somebody. finding movements that you can go to failure on. If you can go to failure on a stiff leg deadlift, that's something that you can do. You could drop the bar. That's not a problem. Going to failure on, say, and I'm pushing it, an incline dumbbell press, right? So if you go to failure on that, you can just dump the dumbbells. That ain't no problem. Most back movements, right? You can go to failure on. Leg movements are a little bit dicier. I did a leg press today. I got to 11 reps. I could have pulled off a 12, but mentally I told myself, if I do this 12, I'm going to get pinned up under here. Or there's a possibility of me getting pinned up under here, right? So I cut it short. Legs are what I find are difficult to go to true failure on unless you're training with somebody. There's no way you can train legs at 100% and say you train legs at 100% all the time if you do not have a training partner. That's one of those body parts where having a training partner is extraordinarily beneficial, because legs is a very difficult body part to build, and it can be a very dangerous body part to build if you are not careful. And if you can't go to failure going solo, then make up for it in volume. So that's really the gist of this video. You need to discover different techniques for you to find out if going to failure or going to failure is good for you, right? So again, I make up a lot of my stuff in volume. I make up a lot of my stuff in frequency. I make up for a lot of my stuff in some intensity techniques and in machine training. Now there's a good bit of dumbbell, barbell, told you I just got off work, mixed in there, but also at the same time, understanding that I know when I can push to failure. On any hammer strength machine, I'm pushing. On any hammer strength machine, I'm pushing to failure. And I can do that without relative fear of injury. But if I'm handling some weight above my head, like a military press or something like that, I'm doing my reps, or I'm coming close to what I want to hit. The minute I see that bar, if I'm going, I got a good groove, and then all of a sudden I start to hit that wall and that bar slows up, I may grit down and try to get another rep. But if that bar just goes slow, 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 lock out, lock out, lock out at the top racket, that's it. No, I'll do a back offset and make up for it that way. So again, if you train solo, find ways to get volume in and stress the muscle and not have to go to failure all the time, right? So that's just my advice. I know I may have sounded a little bit redundant, but I hope it didn't fall on deaf ears. So that's all I got for today. You guys train hard. Y'all be blessed, and y'all have a wonderful Monday evening. Click on like, subscribe. Would love to hear from you if you got any suggestions, or if you just have a question and you'd like for me to answer it. All right. Well, you guys take care. Have a good night.